Where's Jan? She's in back, okay? Want everybody to testify to this? These 2 pages are being taken out of today's sermon. We'll get them another day, not to worry. It's just too warm in here. Jesus, looking at him, loved him and said, you lack one thing. Go and sell what you own. You will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me. When he heard the news, he went away shocked and grieving. Jesus goes on to say how hard it will be for those who have wealth to enter the kingdom. And the disciples were perplexed at these words. I think 2 things in those couple of verses. One is that no matter what we are, what we have, what we look for in Jesus, Jesus looks at us with love. Okay? And it never says in this passage that Jesus stopped looking at him with love, even though he went away. He didn't do what he had asked if he could do. I think we sometimes do that. We ask to do something and then we don't necessarily finish it or want to do that. I think that's so human, and that sometimes happens. I think it's important to know that in Jesus' eyes, this man is to be loved, just like everybody else. But why is he shocked, and why are the disciples perplexed that this rich man cannot get into heaven? You have to remember, in that culture, the thought was that all wealth, all good things came from God. So if you were wealthy, those were gifts that came from God. So how can this now be the thing that we have to not be wealthy? So you have to kind of look at that from their eyes and say, oh, there's that, okay? Because they didn't know what to do with that information. Greatly astounded, the disciples said to one another, then who can be saved? Then who can be saved? It's not our culture, but it was the culture of the time. It was the thinking of the time. That if you were rich, it was because God blessed you. If you were poor, it's because you did something bad and you should not be rich. We don't think that way anymore. But they were shocked by this revelation. There is no one who has left house or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields. So all of you hanging on to your fields, watch out. For my sake and for the sake of the good news, who will not receive 100-fold. That's a big piece of Jesus' message to these folks. You're going to be okay. You're going to be better than okay. But you got to have faith. I think critical to understanding in our 21st century way of thinking about this is the last verse in the passage today. Many who are first will be last, and the last will be first. What's the big qualifier there? It's not all who are first will be last. It's many. And so as we look to speak truth to power, many will be last, but those who are doing good with what they have are not necessarily in that group. But the other half of that is the last will be first. And we have to hang on to that. Now this is one of those scriptures that we've had read to us probably over the years, some of us over the decades. Nancy and Lois aren't here, so I can't say over the centuries. We've heard that. And so I thought, well, what new thing under the sun can anybody say about that? What new thing can be said? We've heard this over and over. So I thought, well, let me just think about this a little bit and kind of revision it and look at the whole notion of first and last. First, that often fade. Last, the most of the time endure. And so I thought of these. Can we remember the first loving touch or song that was sung to us while we were in the womb? But I'm betting we can remember, as if yesterday, the last loving touch we had from that same parent. Can we remember the first time we were reprimanded as a child? Some of us have to think way back for that. Way back. How far back can you think? I can go to about 4, when one of my brothers put soap on my toothbrush, and all of my brothers then suffered the same fate, mysteriously. What about the last time we grew cross with an older parent, a person of age that we loved? Remember that? Do we recall our first birthday party? Tanya, you don't recall your first?
I do not.
Wow. Wow.
I'm getting older.
Yeah, there's that.
Oh, to be 21.
23.
You know, this sounds like what we were doing at church yesterday down in Naples. This one pastor stood up and said, I am 34 years old. I am the youngest pastor in the entire Florida conference. And the woman behind him stood up and said, I am 33. So if we can't recall our first birthday party, can we remember the last birthday card we got from someone who really loves us? Can we remember the first time we fell off a bike, scooter, or our roller skates on our butts? How about the last, you can remember the first time that happened? I can remember many times it happened, I don't know about first. How about the last time we tripped and fell down from our perch on the judgment seat, judging somebody else? Pretty high perch for us. Can we remember our first achievement or honor in school? Our first. Did you only have one? I can remember ones later on. I don't remember anything early on. I also remember going to the principal's office once. Can we remember the last honor we received at a work site or as we retired? Remember that one? Looking forward to that. Do we recall the first time our mom, dad, grandmother, or grandfather looked at us with wonder and delight? You're probably asleep. That's what most of the wonder and delight happens when you're an infant. Do we remember the last time we looked at one of them with different, but just as intense, wonder and delight before they left this world for the next? Can we remember our children's first misdeed, for those of us who had children? How about the last time they asked for money? On a spiritual level, can we remember our first prayer? Our first prayer for help? Help me, help me, help me. Do you remember that as a little child? I don't remember it as a little child, but I remember sitting in the 11th grade math final exam with about 300 other students going, help me, help me. What about the last time of crying out to God for one we love to be spared pain? Do we remember the first kindness we received? The first. What about the last one we did for someone we didn't know? That transforming moment for us, not them as much. Do we remember the first time someone we didn't expect gave us a second chance? About the last time we gave ourselves or someone else a do-over in grace? Do we remember the first time we were forgiven and how we felt? Do we remember the last time we forgave a truly grievous and difficult to forget wrong and felt the burden of? Skipping 2 pages for Jan Keener.
Amen.
Actually 3. Bobby's
Can we make
I've only got 3 lines left. I think we're good. May the first that fade be those of love that continue to live in our souls despite our memories, faulty and fragile as they are. May the last that endure be those that taught us and continue to teach others that the only moments that endure are those that teach us what Jesus tried so hard to get us to understand. That God sees us. And if we look hard enough, we can see God. And what we see is a God who loves us and wants us to love as we are loved.